Some people pretend they care about social issues because they want to get a benefit from it and they want people to like them, and it's like virtue signaling, and I don't think that's good. My grandma got watermelon and I haven't had watermelon since the summer. It's so good. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 3. This is going to be ending it. I want to make an important announcement. I'm now on Rumble, and the reason I'm on Rumble is just in case YouTube decides to take me down, and just a backup platform. The links are in the community tabs. There's been some people that were trying to post comments on part 1 and part 2. If you haven't checked it out, check them out. They were trying to comment, but unfortunately YouTube decides to censor some comments, so their comments will probably be on Rumble. But let YouTube be like the #1 place you watch my videos. And don't forget to always like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know your thoughts down below. Okay, without further ado, we're just gonna end it with part 3. And I didn't react to the full video. There are other things that I think you will enjoy, but I will end it with 2 of them that I think will facilitate better discussion. So we're gonna continue.
One of the problems is consent is not always clearly communicated, and I think that's one of the things that has kind of been weaponized against men, whether the woman wasn't excited about it, or she didn't like the guy, or she was drunk, or all these things that they can use to remove their consent and their responsibility.
Okay, I kind of see what he's saying.
As a black kid, I was taught that if you engage in a romance with a white woman, it's a possibility that she might falsely accuse you of something. Yeah. So I've always been, I guess you could say hyper-consensual. Mm-hmm. What that has done for me is it has revealed the bullshittery that is all these like backdoor cuts that men act like women take to accuse them of things. It's super possible to never engage romantically with a woman in a way that she doesn't want. It's not even hard.
Right? There's enthusiastic consent. You shouldn't like want to feel like you're talking somebody into something, or like they are okay with it.
Okay, this is so true. So, okay, I want to share what happened. Like, there's something that happened to me in my high school years. I'm not like gonna put like my whole life on the internet, right? But I feel like this story is so necessary for this video and for what he is saying and what they're saying right now. So I'm gonna summarize it. Long story short, when I was 15, almost turning 16, this guy tried to peer pressure me into this type of stuff. He tried to peer pressure me into this type of stuff. He was just insisting, he just wouldn't stop. Like, you shouldn't have to punch someone, and you shouldn't have to literally go report them for them to stop. Like, even if you're like, no, even like once or twice, they should get the hint. Kind of like he said, it's not enthusiastic consent. It's not. It's peer pressure. It's saying no, it's saying stop, but you're not listening. So this guy was very persistent. I'm not gonna go into further detail. He really tried to harass me. He was harassing me, and it was very bad. And yeah, that is why people need to understand this consent stuff.
You have sexual encounters with people that want to have the sexual encounters, that are excited about it, and like that's something that like I do think gets lost. Like consent. One more thing, really quick. I know young men that like definitely didn't want to have sex as much as they were, and they were men, but they feel like they had to. They don't, and it's like these things. Like, it's informing young people. Like, even though you don't want them to have sex at a young age, you have to inform them of it because they'll do it wrong if you don't.
It's baked into our culture from the music that we listen. Go into a relationship. These are the things that you see, so you try to enact on that. Mm-hmm. Consent doesn't make you any less of a man. Consent is really creating the safety for the other person to mutually just be down for
Exactly. You can get the vibes when like someone doesn't want to do something. Like, you can see when they're reluctant. So if they're reluctant, don't try to take advantage of that and try to like push them into it, because that's not right, and they're just gonna end up resenting you and resenting what's going on. If people are saying no or they're hesitant, don't try to convince them unless it's something that's for their better good. Like, obviously, like your parents try to convince you to like, I don't know, like wear your jacket when it's cold or something, but that's a whole different story, you know? Like, you can't pressure people into things, or like be like try to guilt trip them, or try to kind of gaslight them, or be, like kind of make them feel guilty for saying no too. That's another issue. It's terrible. Don't do that.
Honestly, I didn't really hear anything that I disagreed with over here. It's just the only thing.
Yeah, they had good points.
That I worry about is lack of accountability. Because a lot of times, you know, women or man, doesn't matter what your sex is, if you're engaging in sexual activity, you can pretty much signal that it's consensual, and it can get confusing. But then if a woman or if a man doesn't verbalize it and then they go back, they confuse consent with regret.
So I need to say something. That is also why I probably didn't tell people about what happened to me, how this guy was harassing me, because I thought he was going to try to flip the story around. He was this like popular kid. I felt at fault for it, even though like I tried to stop him, but I almost felt like they were going to try to put it on me again, and that's not right? Like, I feel like they would have believed me, but he probably would have tried to flip it around, because he also tried to spread rumors about me. So I feel like they would probably think like it was like a regret thing, you know, when in reality I didn't want him to do that stuff, you know.
And I've seen that a lot in court cases or just throughout our culture.
That's where the coercion thing comes, right? And like the context surrounding like if they were to say no, would they have been safe?
Exactly. And to be honest, I didn't think he was gonna like physically hurt me, but at the same time, I was alone. No one was around, so even if he tried to do something, no one would be able to help or do anything. Yeah, I'm saying a lot, but I'm not saying everything, but yeah, that's all I'll say.
Are you putting them in a position where
or is that on the woman? Because if they agree,
it depends on the situation.
Unless they were raped.
Like the Harvey Weinstein thing, like if any of those women say no, their careers are ruined.
Right.
They're in danger
And
because
that
they're
is
so
totally
it's the context.
Yeah.
I don't think that false accusations, especially for sexual assault, are anywhere near as common as people want to make them out to be. And I think the much bigger problem in day-to-day life is the consent issue, not the false accusation.
That's undermining it, though, because you guys haven't gone through it. Saying that is okay is not.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying that in terms of what's a bigger issue that we need to worry about.
I think there are some nuanced issues that where you have to pick a side, and I'm picking women not getting raped over men not getting falsely accused.
But that isn't.
I don't think that
those aren't mutually exclusive, and it's a shame that we live in a world that's so black and white that you can't balance the interest of those who are victims, true victims.
Oh my gosh, this reminds me of a video I'm gonna make, and what I was saying to someone, it's like people see things in black and white, but there's always a gray area. Like a lot of things in life, there's a gray area, or two things can be true at the same time, and life is not always black and white. There could be gray.
Saw discredits a lot of other real ones in people's eyes. It ruins the lives of people who are true victims of getting their cases heard.
We need in our society is comprehensive sexual education.
Yeah.
And I think the topic of consent needs to be just as important as the topic of protection.
Probably would if men got raped more.
Male feminists are in it to get laid.
Okay, so I don't want to do this one, but to be honest, when it comes to some social issues, there are people that don't genuinely believe in it, and I think, or they do, but they're mainly, so for example, right, this is a scenario, disclaimer. So let's say I'm in a relationship with someone named Bob, very common name, and I tell Bob my opinions, right, and then all of a sudden Bob starts acting like he's an advocate for it just because he wants me to like him, or because he wants to act like he cares and stuff, and maybe Bob does care, but he's mainly doing it for me, or he's mainly doing it to make me happy, right? And that's not good. Like, some people pretend they care because they want to get a benefit from it, and they want people to like them, and it's like virtue signaling, and I don't think that's good. Last one.
Like living in a patriarchal society.
I said I don't care. Like, I actually I said in my last video, how would life be in a matriarchal society? So since I've never been in a matriarchal society, like, would we even notice the difference? Because it seems like these days, like, women do run the conversation a lot. So I don't know. I don't care much. So I don't know what my answer would be. Oh, no one stepped forward? Except him. I think he's kind of the odd one out in this one a little bit. Like, he kind of has different opinions.
I would say patriarchal society. Again, I've mentioned the scriptural basis for this, but I think patriarchal society is the way that society functions best. Patriarchy is just a man-led society. So I think we've kind of flipped the term on its head to mean something that it doesn't mean, to say that a patriarchy is a society that oppresses women. That's not what a patriarchy is. So I think if you have a patriarchy operating properly, you have men that are responsible and taking care of their families, taking care of the women of society, and in turn the women have equal opportunities to pursue whatever career they want, to be a mom, to be a wife.
That's fair. That's good. That's fair. Well. Sorry, I'll stay here. Yeah.
So I'll go first. This is a little bit of a personal, emotional thing. I lost my brother to cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I took about 2 or 3 weeks off work, and then I really started feeling, the financial impact of it. And I have my girlfriend, people in my life telling me that they want to help me out financially, but I have this thing internally within me that feels like a leech. Right. In some way, shape, or form, that is because of this thing this expectation that we put on men to be providers. It's really fucking hard. And I can't explain why. I would have liked to have a little bit more time than 3 weeks before I had to start worrying about fucking money again after my brother passed away. And I do feel like that kind of is a direct result of the patriarchy. And I know that it is myself, it's my personal feelings, but I think it stems from the society that I grew up in.
Like that men can be vulnerable and take a break. And yeah, I think there's this pressure like everywhere. They'll be like, they really gotta step up, and it's like, men can feel things, like we're all human. So in my experience, when it comes to like friends I've had, any male friends in my life, more often than not, they've let their guard down in front of me, they've been vulnerable in front of me, and I haven't judged them for it. I think guys especially tend to turn to women because, of our nurturing nature to be vulnerable. Like, husbands will be vulnerable in front of their wives. I never judged people that came to me with their problems. Like, I never thought they need to man up. I genuinely understood, because we're human, you know, it's okay to feel these emotions. You know, I know it gets to a certain point where we also have to take responsibility for ourselves, but like, I feel bad for this guy because he had all this pressure and he needs to take the time he needs, because then it can result in even more damage being done. Yeah.
These things to begin with.
To start, you know, I want to say I'm really sorry for your loss, because I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a loved one. So I want to thank you for sharing your story. It's really important for people to hear. But I don't think that it's accurate to blame a horrific situation on one aspect of society or the patriarchy or this without any solid basis.
So I think that's a fair response. And to clarify my statement just a little bit, that's more of a communal problem.
I feel like a patriarchal society is not one of support. It's one of merit. It's one of bootstraps. It's one of strength.
Competition.
Yeah, it's competition.
You said that a merit-based society is somehow correlated with the patriarchy, and I don't see the correlation there, because if you look anywhere in nature, everything is merit-based.
What I'm trying to dismantle is the institutions in our society reinforcing that males are superior. A lot of societal institutions and staples of our society are reinforcing that narrative that men alone have to take on that mantle of being the one to provide, being the one to lead the charge on fixing a problem, right? Where, like what Tucker was saying, we all experience emotions and, you know, react independently, and we look for community.
Yeah, so I think a direct combat towards the patriarchy is emotional intelligence that we haven't actually talked much about.
I'm just gonna, before I continue, I just want to say something. Also, like, I know that they want like equality and diversity in schools and workplaces. Okay, so let's say there was a job. So there was 5 people that are in charge. 4 are men, 1 is a woman. So let's say 3 more people try to apply and there's 1 woman. So the ratio is always there's gonna be way less women. They might want to choose the woman because they want more diversity, but if the men are more qualified, let them go in. And that's the thing. I feel like sometimes people choose others based on where they're from and their background. And I understand you want diversity, but also what about the qualifications? Because then it's not fair to the people that are more qualified. And they get, then they're being discriminated because of like their skin color, whatever the reason you're like refusing them. So that's where it kind of gets complicated. Like, isn't like the Supreme Court like mainly man dominated? Or like, you know how like government is mainly man ran? It doesn't bother me. It's the people there. Because if there's strong people that want to fight for us and have us a good life, sure, I don't care what gender you are.
Keep going back to business, money, and all these different things, because those are things associated with manhood. But if we really want to shift the dynamic, it's about how do we own like the emotional parts of ourselves as men, and that is not a conversation that is had in society enough, nor is it supported. We feel like we can't let the armor down.
That's what the difference between you're saying like third wave feminism versus like first and second wave. I feel like now it's about superiority. When you're saying like you're mansplaining, or when you're like putting that men do this or men, take advantage and men do that, it makes it as we're your enemy, when in reality it should be more about like working as a team, right?
It's shifting to matriarchy, right?
Yeah, matriarchy. Just like more like being against, like when you're demonizing men for like their actions in general.
Yeah, so like when we're moving towards a socially matriarchal society, it's mansplaining and it's men being canceled. But when patriarchy is in place, we're dealing with issues of wealth. We're dealing with issues of healthcare, whether you consider it healthcare or not. We're dealing with issues of safety. We're dealing with issues of liberty. We're dealing with issues of choice. It seems that matriarchy is less, I guess, oppressively heavy, because all I have to deal with is you not liking what I have to say. Whereas in a patriarchy, I can't make as much money. That's worse.
Even in a patriarchal society which doesn't exist, men and women can still go and make the same amount of money. If women majored in higher paying fields of study, they would make more money.
We need to start preaching to young men the type of strength that you were talking about. Self-awareness, discipline, and honesty. Emotional honesty.
Fair.
Not being tough, and not like, being able to go through a lot, but being aware when you're going through something, when you're struggling, being able to articulate that, right? And doing it to the right people at the right time. I think that is what strength is. And I think
in this video, I think that the anti-feminists are making like really strong points, and I think that I'm seeing more of their side in this video.
Positive message that we could communicate to the next generation about masculinity.
We ended on consensus.
Yes, that is a wrap.
Yes.
Male feminist versus male anti-feminist. Nice job, y'all.
They say they hate men while trying to become men.
Ooh,
Not true.
there's a
That
next
is true.
one.
She was being raped. I am a woman. Oh, you're a woman now?
Oh, that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna react to that one. Oh, I love when they hug at the end. I can't wait till we see women in the feminist one. That guys, that's gonna be up on my channel. Yeah, guys, that is all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below what you guys think, especially because looking at my analytics, I have a mainly male audience. So hey, join this discussion. Let me know what you think. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.